How does one do their duty both with an attitude of surrender and an attitude of sacrifice? So this is a really wonderful question because it shows the importance of connotation and correcting our cultural connotation to certain words. So for us, of course in English, sacrifice is a bad word, right? When I sacrifice something, it has a bad connotation. It's like, oh, like I've lost something in a bad way, like I want it, but I've sacrificed it. But in bhakti, sacrifice has a positive connotation. Sacrifice for us is not something bad. It's actually something good. It's something lovely, something positive, something joyful even. And this is not like some high spiritual ideal. This is something that we experience every time we love somebody. So for example, clearly all of you love Guruji. That's why you are here today together. You are sacrificing your time right now. I hope you don't feel that way, but you are. You could have been doing a million other things. You could have been doing maybe cleaning your house or other things that need to be done. And yet you have taken these 30, 35 minutes and you have sacrificed these minutes, this time, to be closer to Guruji and closer together. So, but hopefully, if you love it, then it should be joyful. It should, even the thought of sacrifice shouldn't enter the mind. It's something we do happily. Actually, I remember some years ago, we were in Bellingham doing a yagna, and of course, usually, if it's everybody or the majority of the people there, it's their first yagna. I try to stop a little bit, explain things, make some jokes, keep it light. And I stopped in the middle of it and I said, so, isn't prayer fun? And the crowd erupted with like, yeah! Except one guy right behind me. And after everyone was like, yeah! Everybody's quiet and he goes, no, sacrifice is not fun. And I thought, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't know what to say to him in that moment, so I was just like, Om Shri Tulsidas Namaha Swaha, and I just went out with the yagna. But in my heart, I was sorry for him. Sorry that the connotation of sacrifice has colored his spirituality, colored his life. Sacrifice actually should be joyful. Jesus, for example, when he was on the cross, he did it for the people he loves. Did he suffer? Yes. Did he feel pain? Yes. Yet it was joyful because he did it for those he loves, which who is all of us, right? And we know that for when we do things for the people we love. Maybe we cook them a big feast. It's their birthday. Is it stressful? Yes. Could we be doing something else? Yes. But we do it happily. And this, how do you say, harnessing the positive side of sacrifice, or giving a new connotation to that word, actually is a needed step to surrender. Because when we do what Guruji's asked, or we do, for example, our sadhana, right? We do our kriya. If we did our kriya full, it would be, what, hour and a half, 2 hours, twice a day? And I know not everybody has that time, but let's say you do have that time. And you could, be watching movies, you could be hanging out with friends, you could be doing many other things. But to say, no, I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to sacrifice what my mind wants, what is easy pleasure, and I'm going to pursue a higher ideal. I'm going to pursue happiness. I'm going to pursue my spiritual goal. Then this is surrender. Of course, there's levels of surrender too, right? There's the first level of surrender is like a mental surrender, which is what we're talking about now. Later on, surrender is on the level of even the soul, where we recognize that even the soul, our eternal self, is actually a drop of the divine. But that's a whole nother level. And that, of course, the higher levels come by grace, by us sacrificing our lower desires for our higher desires. Guruji has made it clear, people have asked many times, how to get rid of desire. And he said, actually, it's impossible to get rid of desire. But what we can do is feed the spiritual desires. We can feed the good desires. Because the desire to attain God, or the desire to love like God loves, these desires are desires which will make us free. Desires of limited things, okay, those trap us into samsara, into reincarnation, into the cycle of birth and death. But we just have to feed the higher desires, which clearly all of you have, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So, again, the question was, how does one do their duty both with an attitude of surrender and an attitude of sacrifice? Actually, the point is it's the same thing. They're not different. Because when we do our duty, okay, now being clear about the duty, our duty is whatever God has put in front of us. What does that mean? Right now, your duty is to listen. And so maybe part of you wants to go run off to have a coffee or something. And just saying, no, my duty now is to listen to Guruji's teachings. And just doing that. So sacrificing the lower desire for coffee and doing the higher desire, which is getting closer to Guruji. Or when you're at work, your work was given by God. It's impossible that it's not. Whatever your work is, whatever your job is, it is handpicked by God for you right now. Maybe in some months, maybe in some years, that job will change, fine. But right now, your duty is that. And sacrificing the desire for something else, sacrificing even the mental desire of daydreaming and just doing your duty. This is surrender. And Guruji's made it clear, when we have surrendered to our duty, whatever God has given to us today, when we surrender, then we learn what we're supposed to learn. And then God will bring us to the next duty, the higher dharma, which is something that is more close to our nature. But to get us ready for that higher dharma, we have to do the dharma of today. So for us, actually sacrifice and surrender and love actually are one and the same.